Red Leg Nation, Trevor here, Red Leg Patriot. Today we have another disassembly video for you. We have a Sig Sauer SP2022. It is the visual aspect is based off their classic line. It is a polymer-based gun, meaning that the frame itself is polymer that has steel infused into it to give it additional strength. Starting off, as always, I don't care how comfortable or how confident you are on your skills and abilities, make sure that you always do safety checks. Do stuff in the same way every time, just to make sure that you negate any possible negative outcomes and stuff that liabilities that you don't want. So here's my magazine. I have no ammunition inserted in there. I have no magazine inserted. It is clear, and there is no round in the chamber. So to start off with on this gun, obviously this is your slide lock, or some people call it your slide release. So I'm going to go ahead and send the slide home. It does have an external hammer, okay? If I'm not mistaken, it has about a 10 or 11 pound trigger pull. It is a double action, single action, meaning that your first shot is going to be to have a heavier trigger pull than your second follow-up shot, which would then be a single action. So double action, first shot, it's around 10 or 11 pound trigger pull. Your shots after that should be 4 to 4.5 pounds. So this little lever right there, that is your decocking lever, so that you don't have to pull the trigger to send the hammer home. So pull that down, gently send your hammer home, and there you go. So that's what that is. It's not a safety. So to go ahead and start the disassembly, if you can see here where the slide meets the frame, there are two cutouts, okay? That first cutout is going to be for your slide lock. That second cutout is gonna be what you want to line up with this portion of the slide lock. Now, if I flip this over and look at the right side of the gun, there is a tab right here, the opposite side of the slide lock, that is sticking out, protruding past the slide. So, might be a clue. So when we go to monkey grip our gun to pull the slide back and line it up with that part of the slide lock, we're going to then push this button, which pops the slide lock out and allows us to remove the slide from the frame. It's gonna look like this. So I lined it up, okay? I'm gonna push that opposite side. You hear that click? Comes straight out. Send the slide back, and it just comes straight off. Now we can set your frame down and just go ahead and start working with the slide for now. Looking at the inside of the slide, basic components you see on most handguns, okay? You have a recoil spring with a recoil rod that sits up against the bottom side of this barrel. The recoil rod is polymer. If you have not shot a gun or owned one over a lengthy period of time that would cause wear on a firearm, polymer obviously is not as strong as metal. So with a polymer recoil rod, as you're disassembling it, make sure that you're checking, make sure it's not broken, cracked, or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about damaging your firearm if you don't pay attention to it and you run the risk, oh, it was cracked, but it'll be fine. That's stuff that you want to replace. Don't try to super glue it, just replace it, okay? So I'm gonna remove the recoil rod and spring. And one thing I do want to point out is on the face of the recoil rod, just so you guys see, it just comes out, okay, so you can clean it and then reinsert it. On the face of the recoil rod, there is a little nub there, okay? That's important when you go to reassemble it, because on this barrel that just comes out, there's a notch right here. Try to make sure you guys can see that. There's a notch right there, okay? That little nub on the face of your recoil rod sits right in there. So when you reassemble it, make sure that you're hearing a click. You'll hear a click, and when I reassemble this gun, you'll hear it too. But make sure that it is sitting in that notch before you completely put the slide back on the frame. So we'll set that aside. Now at this point, you don't need to go any further than that. If you're trying to replace something, your gunsmith or whatever, that's, do what you got to do. But this is as far as I would recommend you disassembling this firearm to clean it and give it some loving. So slide is done. Pick up your frame. There's absolutely nothing else that I'm gonna do with this frame. I will clean it, get all the gunk out of there. Just as with everything, as you're disassembling stuff, please make sure that you are visually and physically inspecting to make sure that there's no wear, there's no cracks, there's nothing that needs to get replaced, so you don't run the risk of hurting your investment or, more importantly, hurting yourself. So that is as far as I will go. What I will do is send the hammer home. So, and then I'm just gonna set that aside. Now the reassembly portion, I do want to point out, and this will play a part once I go to put the slide back on the frame. There is a hole here. All right, when you reassemble this gun, this hole comes into play when you have to monkey grip and line that notch right here up so that you can insert your slide lock. This is going to go inside of that hole. Okay. I'll show you what will happen if you don't pay attention to that, because then you'll have this block in your barrel and it won't sit right. It won't go back into battery, okay? So go ahead and do our reassembly. Insert our barrel. When you're inserting your barrel, something you should always pay attention to is that it should lock into place, right? It should click, it should fit right in there. If your barrel has space in between where the firing pin is and the breech sits, then there's an issue. You're possibly going to hurt yourself. You're possibly going to destroy the gun. Okay, so if it does not look like that, please make sure that you are taking this to a gunsmith, or if you're a gunsmith, figure out what the issue is, fix it or replace it. Okay. So now I'm going to take my recoil rod and spring. I'm going to insert it very carefully, because as you push it, it's a spring, so it's going to be under tension. Oop, there it goes. So it's not inserted yet into that notch. There you go. There's that click I was talking about. Make sure it's seated in that notch on the front of this underside of the barrel. Okay. So now at no point on any firearm, I try to make note of this, there should never be any reason why you really need to manhandle a gun. Okay. So the inside of the slide, where it meets the frame, there are little channels. Okay. Those channels slide right over these rails, and that's what keeps it on the frame. So I'm going to line it up with those rails. Okay. There you go. Monkey grip my gun. And this is something I'm going to purposely do, something that I've seen a lot of people do, because I want you to see it and see how to fix it so you don't freak out. So I'm going to do this on purpose, okay? It's stuck. I can't get it. What do I do? I have no idea what to do. It's stuck. I'm nervous, not necessarily very familiar. I think I just messed up my gun. Don't worry about it. You're okay. Monkey grip your gun. Pull the slide back. What's happening when you're doing that, all right? See if I can do it again. Is that the barrel is getting stuck. Okay? All you need to do, turn it over, pull the slide back a little bit more, and the barrel, gravity will allow the barrel to fall down. It's not going to fall out. It's just going to slide down a little bit, which will then allow you to send the slide back to where it's supposed to be. And then you can try it again. So I wanted to make sure that you guys saw that. Okay. Monkey grip. Barrel comes loose. Okay. So what you're doing, what you want to do is, as you're monkey gripping this and pulling it back, make sure that the barrel is not stuck, that it is not locked where it's supposed to sit, so that the barrel can come forward. Okay. Reason being, I said those holes that were there, you have to line that up. It's a little difficult to do while I'm holding this, so I apologize. Do my best. You have to line that up so that you can reinsert your slide lock. Okay. As you're doing that, you're going to hear a click when you insert it correctly. Okay. Hear that click. Gently release your slide forward. Okay. I'm going to use the decocking lever. I'm going to send my hammer home. Now I do a little function check. Make sure that the slide is smooth. If there's any grittiness or if there's any resistance, take it apart, figure out what's wrong, and then test it again. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to again test my decocking lever, send the hammer home. I'm going to pull my trigger because we already made sure that it's safe. There's no ammunition in this gun. I'm gonna pull my trigger. I'm going to hold it back. My trigger works just fine. I'm going to cycle my gun, and you should hear a click. That is the key to tell you that your trigger is resetting. Okay? Make sure that your magazine works fine. Your magazine release, it inserts correctly. There's no issues. The other thing you want to make sure that you check, again, sending my hammer home, is test. This is what it's called out of battery. Okay, so your gun should have an out of battery safety on there. So make sure that if you're able to do this and still pull the trigger, and then something's not right, and you need to take it to go get fixed, go get looked at. Okay. So that's it. It's pretty basic, pretty simple. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys have any questions or any comments, please feel free to put them in the comments below. I do read them, and I try to respond to them as much as I can, as fast as I can. If there's something you guys would like to see, please comment again and let me know. But as always, guys, a clean gun is a happy gun. You guys stay safe.